This story is perfect. I'm of course talking about the PlayStation 5 video game Spider-Man 2, where we follow Peter Parker and Miles Morales, the Spider-Men, as they try to defeat a high-tech group of hunters led by a new enemy, Kraven the Hunter. I was really looking forward to this game being released, and as soon as it was, I hopped onto YouTube to watch it because, you know, I'm broke, and I was engulfed by storytelling mastery. So here's why the story of Spider-Man 2 is perfect. What I noticed immediately about Spider-Man 2 was that the voice acting was on point. Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker absolutely nails the role, and I honestly believe that he's starting to cement himself as the voice actor for Spider-Man. The most impressive thing about Lowenthal's performance is how he switches back and forth between his regular Peter Parker voice and then to his symbiote voice. In moments when Peter has the symbiote on him, his voice gets slightly deeper with a bit of gruffiness behind it, and then later on in the game, it starts getting more monstrous. How Lowenthal is able to transform his voice like that on a dime is just so cool to be able to listen to. Najee Jeter voiced Miles Morales, and he was just as awesome as Yuri Lowenthal. I don't want to go so far as to say that he should be the only Miles Morales voice actor, only because I really enjoy Shameik Moore from the Spider-Verse movies, but don't let that take anything away from Jeter's performance. Like, he was incredible at bringing Miles Morales to life. And whoever decided to hire Tony Todd, aka the Candyman, to play as Venom deserves a huge raise. Tony Todd definitely has the monstrous aspect of his voice, which makes Venom sound intimidating, but he also adds this alluring tone to his voice, which sounds like soothing in a way. And I think that works perfectly for the character, because in this game, Venom, you know, he's very manipulative. He gets in people's heads once he bonds with them, so it works. And when he says that iconic "We are Venom" line, like, "We are..." Ooh, I can meditate to that. When a non-gamer thinks of video games, it's assumed that there isn't any substance to it. Like, there's no story, it's just button pressing. But Spider-Man 2 is one of the many games in recent years that break this stereotype, because this story is something else. The flow of the plot, the character development, the relationships, the conflict, it was all woven together perfectly, and I couldn't be drawn away from it. I was caught in its web, all pun intended. The video that I watched that contains the entire story was about 15 and a half hours long. Come here. I watched the entire thing in one day. From when I woke up early in the morning to late at night, I was watching it. There are not many things in this world that I would dedicate 15 and a half hours of my day to, but Spider-Man 2 had me, and it was not letting go, and I didn't want it to let go. I honestly would have watched 15 more hours of it. The geeky stuff obviously is a big part of why I was so invested in the story, but the other big reason was for how human it was. A big theme of this story is that everyone deserves a second chance. A lot of villains in this game, but some of them are trying to make up for the things that they've done, and the Spider-Men are going out of their way to help them, and it was those moments that brought me to tears. This is why I love superhero stuff so much, like beings with this awesome power, using that power not just to help people, but to bring them up. These villains were some of the worst, but with the help of the Spider-Men, they saw an opportunity to better themselves, and then they would give back to others. Like, that's how the real world should function. There's this awesome plot line between Miles Morales and Mr. Negative that really hammers this point home, and it's just... beautiful. Okay, I'm done being sappy. Let's talk about the geeky stuff, because I really love that too. Can we address how Spider-Man 2 made Kraven the Hunter one of the coolest characters ever? I wouldn't go so far as to say I disliked Kraven the Hunter, but to me, he was just one of those villains that I was just like, oh yeah, that's a Spider-Man villain too. Okay, you know, really dismissive about him. But this story presents him in such a powerful way that snaps me out of that delusion, like...
You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
Coolest / scariest thing about Kraven the Hunter is his motivations, and this is a slight spoiler. He wants to find a worthy predator that can finally give him an honorable death, so he's taking out everybody until he can find the one that can best him. Bro, this dude is insane, but he's so cool. But as cool as Kraven is, As soon as Venom shows up, oh, it's a wrap. Like, Kraven who? All my attention is on Venom now. Still love you, Kraven. Spider-Man 2 does a great job of building up to Venom. Like, they don't push him out right away. You know, they just give you a little bit here, a little tease there. So the whole time I'm watching this, like, I'm getting more and more anxious. I'm like, give me Venom. Oh, and once I got him, when Venom made that first appearance, I was just in awe, like, his design, his voice, his complete disregard for human life. It was basically art. When Spider-Man and Venom just come face to face for the first time, it was so cool that I started crying. I cried a lot. Like, I cry about things like that. Venom was definitely worthy of being the final boss of this story, and I hope we get a bunch more of him in the future. I gotta say, there's a ton of fan service in the story, and fan service can be hit or miss because oftentimes it can be forced, but Spider-Man 2 delivers it in a way that's both surprising and makes sense within the context of the story. Most of the fan service either reveals or hints at a specific Spider-Man villain that has yet to appear in this universe, one of them being my all-time favorite Spider-Man villain. Try to guess down in the comments below on who do you think my favorite Spider-Man villain is. One and only complaint about Spider-Man 2, I don't have a PS5, so I can't enjoy this game for myself. So until I get my own PS5, I'm just gonna have to keep watching this stuff on YouTube. Gaming on a budget. That just goes to show how perfect of a story Spider-Man 2 has if I'm still having an incredible time just watching it. I absolutely loved everything about Spider-Man 2, and what they're doing with this story over at Insomniac is just something magical. That's why Spider-Man 2 is getting its own crop top. This one's for you! Make sure you check out my reviews on other video games by clicking on the box right here. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, do the menage a trois, and I'll see you in the next video.